good morning, Saubana. So happy to see so many of you joining in early in the morning. Super duper. Good morning. Yes, I can already see the questions have started to come. Today's intention is clutter-free. I thought clutter-free would be a great idea for the simple reason that we are right now in the middle of Navratri. We also have Diwali coming. What better conversation than cleaning up your mind, cleaning up your house, just cleaning up everything, right? So I feel like we need to detox all that is sitting for months, and I'm going to give you quickly 2-3 tips to how to detox so that we can finish this conversation and I can move to Q&A. The first tip that I have for you to detox is to every morning journal for maybe a minute on what is currently your most important emotion and where is it coming from. Okay, so let's say I've woken up and I'm feeling irritated. I'm just giving you an example. So if I can just journal on irritation, what does this irritation mean for me? Why am I irritated? What is the source of my problem? Really in that problem, what is the real problem inside that problem? Just putting it all out on paper is one of the best ways to you can release all that is sitting inside of you and creating problems, right? So I feel like one of the most beautiful things we can do is journal. So I don't know how many of you here are journaling. I'm going to highly recommend to you that this month, see if you can start the journaling process. It's a very powerful thing to do, to especially keep going back to how is it I'm feeling? Where is this coming from? What is it that I can do to improve my emotional maturity? Which means any new story I can give myself to release myself of this negative emotion or this, anything that is sitting inside of me. Some of us are carrying years of pain. Just starting to journal will make you realize that it may not even be a pain that exists in your life right now, but a pain that you've been carrying for so many years. That person has disappeared, but the pain hasn't. True, possible. So I'd love for you to consider that. Another thing that I think a lot of us need to start to do is become more authentic and vulnerable. So many of us are wearing so many masks, and the more masks you are wearing, the more there is disharmony between what you speak, how you feel, and what you're thinking. I can't remember the quotation exactly, but somebody said that when your thoughts, your feelings, your action, your speech come into one alignment, there's a different kind of charisma that person has. So I'm going to highly encourage you to start to see how can you align your thoughts, your feelings, and your speech. Actions will happen automatically, true or not, if you align these three. So highly recommend that. And last but not the least, what are your spiritual practices? Are you doing gratitude on a daily basis? Are you inputting something good like a book every week where you can read just about 10 pages? What are your inputs? So spiritual practice is just studying. What are those things that you do to garner strength? Each one of us as a soul needs strength-giving exercises, not just for our body, but also for our mind. So what are those things that you do that give you that strength? So it's so important. One of the things I love doing is to create what I call the divine protection, where in my prayer, I just go, God, divinely protect me and everyone I love. And in my mind space, I'm imagining that protection. I'm imagining God's hand on my shoulder or on my back. I'm imagining that, if anything in my environment goes wrong, it is only because God needs to fix something, and sometimes He needs to destroy to create. So then that way what happens, my ability to handle challenges or negative situations is so much better because I'm willing to give myself the spiritual practice of storytelling through the astral plane or through why would the universe want to do this to me? And it just becomes so much more easier to handle life when you, instead of thinking, I have bad luck, I'm just jinxed, Diwali doesn't work for me, this is the month where I cry the most, happiness annoys me. Instead of going into that mode, what if you start to claim it as, this time of the year, I'm going to be happy no matter what. I am going to choose my peace. I am going to take over, deciding and understanding. And so you'll just start to see how much of your clutter will start to get filtered out just by changing your perspective towards the challenges or the problems that are flowing at you. So journaling, great thing to do. Sharing your feelings and removing your masks, another vulnerable and authenticity. And last but not the least, I'd love for you to start to have divine spiritual practices where you truly start to believe that something beyond you is protecting you. I feel like that really helps. Now coming to your household. First, tell me on a 1 to 10, how cluttered do you think is your house? On a 1 to 10, do you have too much stuff in your cupboards, in your makeup drawer, in your undergarments drawer, in your clothes, in your shoes, in your, are you someone who's been carrying all that you've collected all your life with you everywhere you go? And I think that's a very important question to ask yourself, isn't it? Absolutely. So some of you are a 4, some of you are a 5, some of you are a 7. Something that I recently spoke about in my sister verse is also this month I'd love for every single one of you to keep a carton. A carton to get rid of something or the other on a daily basis so that by the end of 30 days you have 30 things out of your house. Every day I love to just walk around my house and say, is there anything broken or cracked? Those are the first things. See, broken and cracked things, unless mended beautifully, are actually negative energy in your house. So I'd just love for you to walk around and say, okay, first let's get rid of all of that. Then Marie Kondo has this very beautiful energy of, does this give me joy? And I think that, getting rid of things that are broken is one way of getting rid of things. But even a more profound way of getting rid of something is to say, how does this make me feel? And if it has no emotional happiness that it's creating, it should not be in my environment. So literally what I'd love for you to do is just walk around your house and look at, does this feel beautiful to me? Does this give me joy? If yes, keep it. If anything is not giving you joy, start to put it on one side and start to have like an accumulation of things that now create no emotional happiness or joy in you. And those are the things that you can actually get rid of. Another thing I learned from a teacher called Jai Madan. She's a fabulous woman. If you're not following her, she's very good with this Vastu and all of this Navratri stuff and everything. I like following her. And she speaks about changing items around your house, that anything lying in one place for a very long time actually starts to suck negative energy. So just moving things around freshens things up. I have to say my mother-in-law is so brilliant at moving things around. Like you go to her house almost on a weekly basis, it changes the way it looks. So she actually has cupboards where she keeps things and then she takes them out. Sometimes her theme of her house will be yellow. Sometimes the theme of her house will be magenta. She'll just change all of the cushions to a different color. And it's never stagnant. Like I think she has this, and I've learned it from her, maybe because I got married at 18. I've learned it from her that I also keep trying my level best to keep sprucing my house, to bring something new every month so that I can remove the old and replace it with something that awakens the energy of my home. Start to treat your home like a living thing rather than a dead thing. And when you start to treat it like a living thing, just the way we change our makeup, our clothes, our accessories, our hair, our hairstyle, everything, right? Even the house, the more you start to do all of that, the more you will see guests will come to your house. And I always say a house that has guests has a lot more positive energy. So I'd love for you to see how today, tell me in the chat box, what's the one thing you're willing to commit to this week or this month that is going to spruce up and clean up your mindset also and your environment also. Let's see some of the comments in the chat box before we move into today's questions. Yeah. Oh, nice. Did you watch her on Netflix? It's such a therapy. I actually haven't watched Marie Kondo's Netflix special, but I have known her since back in the years when she was not even famous. Oh, lovely. Some of you are like, yeah. Pooja is asking, can you suggest I'm having a 16-month-old son, unable to manage time for my mental peace and for the self-career growth from house routine and baby care, or do morning gratitude? So Pooja, you have to be a lot more kinder to yourself for the simple reason that, you know what, when you have a 16-month-old baby, the chances are that one of the things that you can't have is routine and regulation. The day you accept that I don't have routine and regulation in my life because I have a 16-month-old baby, the minute this baby starts to go to preschool, you will start to have 2 to 3 hours per day for yourself, and it is such a relief. Also, when you have a 16-month-old baby, you have to remember that your sleep cycle is gone for a toss. So, you know, just the fact that every night you are waking up every 2-3 hours, that you're attending to, that you're not getting that whole full night's sleep, in itself makes all of the difference. So when you keep all of these things in mind, you'll be so much more kinder to yourself, which is something I'm going to highly encourage you to do. Having said that, there are a few activities that you can build into your routine with your child. For example, you can literally say your gratitude to him, right? So every morning when you wake up and you do good morning, can you also add to that, good morning, sweetheart. I'm so grateful to God for having you. I'm so grateful to God for today being a beautiful weather day. I'm so grateful to God for my hot cup of tea. I'm so grateful to God for, and literally you can do your gratitude with your baby while you're swinging him around and doing all of the other stuff. So I'd love for you to see how can you marry, you know, they call it the habit hooker. You can hook two habits together. How we have, no, where we do brushing and curly together, or, you know, some of us have it that right after our bath, we'll rub cream on our legs. So what we've done is we've hooked two habits together. You can start to hook all of your good habits to something that you're doing for your baby. The beauty of a woman is we are multitaskers. Unlike the world where we have been told that focus is the most important thing, masculine energy can afford to focus because they have a one mission of earning money. A woman plays too many roles for her to have just one mission. We are the kind of women who can be talking to our mothers, cooking and getting our children ready, receiving the doodh from the doodhwala, and maybe not more at the same time. And that's the beauty of a woman's mind, right? So I'd love for you to see what are all those things that you can club together so that you stop feeling like you're not being productive enough. And the days you are not, please be very forgiving to yourself. Love it. Right now, a lot of decluttering is happening at home. I'm going to change my curtains. Rini saying, my husband has an affair with his cousin's sister, not present emotionally with me, got to know this in my pregnancy. Rini, these are big traumas, and I want you to take this very seriously, because a lot of times, because of the shame of all that we go through because of these kind of conversations, we tend to try to sort or solve such issues by ourselves, while the truth is sometimes it's not even in our hands because it's so out of our hands. Now your pregnancy plus him not being emotionally present plus you realizing he's having an affair, these are all big decisions that you will need to take. So you will need help, and I really hope that you have some help around you, whether you are using your parents or his parents or family members or a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Please don't try to do this alone is my suggestion. I will not be able to help you on Insta Live. This is too massive help required for me to just answer it in 5 minutes. But the fact that you're putting it out there only tells me the level of pain that you must be in. And if you don't have anyone else to reach out to, and you're reaching out to places like this where you're posting like this, I would love for you to get personal help. If you want to reach out to one of my coaches and start coaching with my coaching company, I'll be happy to assist you with that. Just DM me. We will help you with that. Or please get help is something I'm going to highly recommend to you. Pregnancies already an harmoniously very roller coaster kind of a ride, and there are so many emotions you are going through, that when a man does not give you the safety of pregnancy. In pregnancy, it's like the man was supposed to look after you, to provide for you, to protect for you, because you're carrying his child. When the opposite is happening, it can be a complete disaster. And I think we women don't speak about these things enough for the man to feel shame. Rather, we ourselves get into the shame of the fact that this is what's happening to me. Please remember, do not take it like it's happening to you in the process of that, that in some ways you are contributing, that you are not good enough, which is what a lot of women tend to think about. I would love for you to stand up for yourself and truly know that, you know what, I deserve better. And we deserve better just because we are able to think it. So I want you to be able to think it, that I deserve better, and see how you are going to fight for yourself or stand up for yourself. Now it's not even just for yourself, it's also for your baby, right? I've put away a lot of my old stuff in cartons, but I've kept them in the storeroom outside my house. Don't know where to give it. Candle stands, artifacts, old crockery. Superb. I think that is step one, to get it all in cartons and to get it kept somewhere. And then the next step can be for someone to come and collect it. So I'd love for you to now start to find out from your friends, from your family, from the people around you, to who are they giving charity. I have a lovely lady, she runs a company called The Sort Story. I'm going to actually ask her for the phone numbers of the people that can help you with this, and try to put it in my caption if I can get someone, especially for those of you who live in Chennai. And if not in Chennai, I'm sure in your city you can locate someone who is willing to come home and collect all of these cartons and boxes. Durga Srinivasan, I'm very slow, feeling a lack of energy. Whenever I feel low, I went on a sleeping. Every day this is happening to me. How to overcome this? Durga Srinivas, these are all symptoms of different problems, right? So when someone is feeling slow, they're feeling a lack of energy, they're feeling like sleeping a lot, this could directly be connected to sadness, depression, a lack of joy from life. So I'm going to encourage you to either get a coach or go see someone professional, because if this is just a phase and it passes by, I'll be happy for you. But if this is something that has been happening to you for a while and you haven't been able to get out of it, even though you've been trying, then I would love for you to get some professional help, because you know what? These are all symptoms telling me that you're misaligned with life. The reason that we don't feel like waking up in the morning, or we don't feel active in our energy, is because we're not living our soul's purpose or our soul's journey. Anytime in life when there are too many people controlling our life and we have started to lose hope to a certain level, these are the kind of symptoms that show up. But absolutely, I can't diagnose you through Instagram, for sure not. So you're going to have to either figure it out or find out, is there a real issue, or can you kind of like get rid of, if it's just a phase, if it passes by in a week or so, then you know that maybe you had overdone something, or you needed that break, or you just, felt that way. Maybe it was just a hormonal thing. So we have to all the time keep examining and re-examining to see where do we stand. Yeah. Priya, you are right. Oh wow, thank you. Sheetal, I love you. I love you too, Sheetal. So sweet. Pragya, ma'am, I love someone and I'm planning to marry, but in his family, women are not given decision-making powers much. I'm an independent, ambitious woman. I am doubtful if I am doing the right thing. Pragya, these are such important conversations to be had before you marry him. So I'd love for you to sit him down, and if required, even his family down, and let them know that you don't plan to give up your career no matter what. So therefore, it is best for them and for you to have very open, honest conversations before you tie the knot, okay? So a lot of times we think, when we are in a relationship, we have two deals. One deal is the one that we are making with the man, and one is the secret deal that if he doesn't change whatever is not acceptable to you, somehow after marriage you'll be able to change that in him. And I feel like that's one of the most disastrous thoughts to have, because these secret deals is what actually disappoints us in our marriage and what leads us to eventually start to feel distant from the relationship. So if you know that you are an independent, ambitious woman, why would you not communicate that to your man and to his family so that they are prepared for you? Now, there are other things you can do. Okay, so when I started working, I had a lot of things that I wanted to do. So whether it was making sure, I remember promising my man that, you know what, don't worry ever, because it's never going to be that there are no towels in the bathroom. You'll never have to call out for the powder. I'm going to be extra particular about the menu. You'll always have breakfast, lunch, dinner happening exactly as per time. So the reassurance of what he expected from me versus what I wanted to do in my life was a combination conversation that we had to have for us to be able to make sense of where I was headed, right? Otherwise, me suddenly becoming independent and ambitious and neglecting my family, my children, my household is also not going to work for me, right? So I'd love for you to see, Pragya, how are you going to create that balance between the independent, ambitious woman that you are and the help that you're going to need from him. And one of the things I speak a lot about these days is removing the gender roles. In my house, my husband does me a big favor by ordering the food because he's so fussy about what he eats, and I'm totally open to anything that he orders. So it's worked out so much more beautifully for us that he orders the food. He does a lot of the housework that I don't enjoy, and I do a lot of the management that he's not particularly brilliant at. And I think that combination works when you, instead of working with the role of the woman and the role of the man, which is what earlier families used to look like, I think today a couple has to sit down and mutually decide, these are the things I enjoy, these are the things you enjoy, and these are the things we are going to delegate because we are a two-income house. Rupal single. Ma'am, I want to marry someone I love, but my parents are forcing me to marry somebody else, and I'm 23 right now. I don't want to marry somebody else. Should I escape from home? What should I do? I love that. Should I escape from home? So Rupal, they have raised you, so they deserve better, is what I would say. Having said that, you deserve the man you want to or choose to marry. You are a 23-year-old adult. They have only that much say after a certain age, which parents also have to now start to realize. So I think you sitting down and letting them know, I have people in my family right now who waited it out. They chose not to marry anyone else, and they said, take your time, take as long as you like. My own brother-in-law and sister-in-law almost waited 8 years because it was an inter-religion marriage, and they just waited and waited and waited till the parents gave up and said, kar lo. Okay, so the beauty of delay sometimes in life is that in the beginning, parents are so particular that they want this kind of a guy. His religion, his caste, his income, his everything. They will have a list of 100 things that they require, but over time these lists keep falling away as the number of men available to us women become lesser and lesser and lesser, till a time comes, I've heard people say, just get married, anybody would be okay. They reach that space. So my suggestion to you, Rupal, is have patience. Have patience with them, have patience with yourself. Sometimes we also don't have the maturity to see things that our parents can see. And I'm not saying anything against your man. If he's the perfect guy for you, God bless you, my darling. But I'm just saying that sometimes time reveals to us more things than anything else. And so just sitting with the energy of that, I am definitely not marrying anyone else. Now it's up to you whether you get me married to this man or not. And I think our parents deserve at least that much respect from us. True? Deepika, what to do if my husband only communicates to me regarding his side of the family and only coming to places he wants, and otherwise there is no communication at all? Deepika, you are in a huge advantageous position when your man still wants something from you. Okay, even if it is things that he wants from his family, for his family, it's totally okay, because that puts you in the power to be able to negotiate. So what do you want in return is something you need to tell him when he's asking you for whatever he's asking you, right? So if my husband says, I'll be out on Saturday night because I have a golf tournament, I'm just taking any example. To that I will say, okay, if you want to be out on Saturday night, I'm totally okay, but Friday is a holiday for either Puja. Is it okay if we go to Fish Cove for lunch? So I'm creating compensations rather than tantrum throwing. Now I can throw a tantrum saying you will not go out on Saturday, but then he will be unhappy and I will be unhappy, and that's not going to work out for us. What I need to do is ask him in return, what can he give me that doesn't come in the way of his ideas and his things for his family, but then I also get compensated because I'm also human who needs emotions, right? So see if you can, Deepika, start to have these barter conversations, as I like to call them, so that there is a fair exchange and you don't feel like you're being taken for granted, and eventually you don't become bitter and resentful towards him, if not already. Oh, so sweet. Happy Mommy Princess saying, so inspiring. Thank you. Oh, Shami's in Gurgaon. Okay, no problem. Maybe in Gurgaon you can now start to look out. I think these days the beauty is that you send out one message to all your Gurgaon groups. I think Gurgaon has one of the most fabulous moms groups and this groups and that groups, that somebody or the other will reciprocate, my Jan. I resolved to make October, Joyride with Marika is saying, I resolved to make October clean and shiny and organized. I love that. That's so wonderful. Darshita, husband and me got separated and kids are currently with him. I see them on the weekends. I'm unable to cope with the distance with my kids. The separation is mutual, is both of us. We are not good for each other. Harshita, that's heavy. To be separated from your children and to only see them on the weekends, I can't even imagine how it must be breaking your heart. But only you know best why this situation was created and why he got the children, because 90% of the time the mother gets the children and the husband pays for that. So the fact that they are living with him tells me that you mustn't be in a great place for you to be able to absorb the children. So if you genuinely have a reason right now on why you can't absorb the children, work super hard for the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year to make yourself capable enough to be able to get your kids to your home or your family or whatever it is that you need to do. And honestly, it breaks my heart when I hear things like this. It truly does. Like, to be separated from your own children as a mother, I don't even know how hard that must be, darling. So be very kind to yourself and allow yourself all of the emotional roller coaster that you must be going through on days where you must be just waking up sometimes to just feel so hopeless and so devastated. But having said that, make sure that there is hope in the future. So make sure that you're working towards a mission, an agenda to be able to at some point contribute in a far more, bigger manner in your children's life, apart from just being there for them for the weekends. Yeah. One of the things I dislike about divorce, and I'm not a big disliker of divorce, because I feel like it's very possible in today's world that you land up marrying someone who doesn't come out to be the person you thought when you are marrying them. So I have nothing against the concept of realizations of separation after a period of staying together. But I do feel like parents, or rather I believe that there should be laws, we have a law on the separation of two parents without anybody keeping in mind the children's future. I wish there was a law that said that from the time you have a child, no matter what, these are the number of years, let's say the first 7 years, that you have to jointly co-parent these children, or there were some laws to protect the kids more than even the separation of the parents. And I feel like the whole separation should be in some way dictated either by the government or by families or by our societies to just protect the health of the children. Because the two adults that are going through what they are going through, in some form or the other, cope with it because they have an understanding of what they are going through. But the children in this situation are the ones who land up paying the heaviest price. And so, always breaks my heart. And I feel like we need a new code of honor or a new commandment around the concept of separation. And while I don't want the separation to feel like the shame, I want all of the shame to live in the parents of such divorces, where if you didn't play the role that was desired from you for having these children, for bringing them into the world, that should be where the focus should be. So just an added point to everything that I keep talking about. Amrita is asking, what are a few ways that one can work on feeling more deserving? Amrita, this is such a beautiful and profound question for the simple reason that today there is an entire science that people who get successful versus people who don't get successful, sometimes the only difference between the two, not in education, not in talent, not in environment, not in family, sometimes the only difference is in their deservability. So the people who believe they can versus the people who believe they shouldn't or can't, that in itself becomes the decision maker or the deciding factor for their success. So how do we work on our deservability? Well, there are various ways to do that. One is to continuously work on your skill set, attitude and competency so that you can keep working on your deservability. I remember at one point going and trying to get as many certifications as I could in life coaching, because I just felt like a wall full of certificates will make me feel like I deserve to do the work that I do. So I think a lot of my confidence in the beginning came from sheets of paper. And then it became more around the practice. So when someone has put in 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours, 5,000 hours, 10,000 hours towards that one mission or one desire, then what happens is automatically you become the best of the best. So how does a disaster go to become a master is when you put in the number of hours or time into the thing that you're most passionate about. So you can build your deservability by studying, you can build your deservability by practice, you can build your deservability just through thought. So the reason I want to get this job is because I believe I deserve it, right? And that in itself, because I am a special child of God, okay? Literally, I am a special child of God. I remember at one point in my journey, I used to feel like an imposter. And people, especially coaches or people who are in places where you still don't feel deserving of what you are receiving, you can have what we call the imposter syndrome. And so the imposter syndrome for me in my head at one point was, who the hell am I to be having these conversations? Who the hell am I to be guiding anybody? If I can just guide my own life, that in itself is such a big thing. These are the kind of thoughts a lot of us can land up living by. And I remember starting to say, who the hell am I not? And I think that shifted a lot of my perspective to, we keep asking ourselves, there's a beautiful poem by Marianne Williamson which says, our deepest fear. And if you haven't ever read that poem, I'm going to highly recommend, take out a printout and read it every day. Stick it on your bathroom mirror. It's one of the most powerful choice of words put together. The lady's name is Marianne Williamson. And she says, our deepest fear is not that we are adequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And she continues to say, who the hell am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, amazing, whatever, lots of these adjectives of awesomeness. And then she says, who the hell am I not to be? And to me, that is such a powerful feeling that, you know, in a world where I am just helping people, why am I criticizing myself? Why am I thinking that I'm not good enough? Why am I not believing in myself when I'm getting messages after messages that this is what I'm meant to do? And I'm of course talking about 10 years earlier. Today, after 14 years of doing this, I have no doubt in my head that I was born to do this. But in the beginning, we all have our doubts, right? So how can you feel more deserving? Just by reconditioning or rewiring your brain, by saying those kind of things to yourself, that actually, who am I not? If a chai wala can become the Prime Minister of India, and if, you know what, like, people are making everyone underneath the pretense or the garb of that they know what they're doing, don't know what they're doing. In my realization, even the big guys these days don't know what they're doing. We are all winging it. And once you start to realize we are winging it, we actually realize success is actually not a combination of successes. It's a combination of failures. You go from one failure to another failure to another failure to another failure to another failure, which starts to eventually look like success. Because what did this person not do? Quit. So if let's say I take a session for someone and it doesn't go well, one failure, I fix it. Another failure, I fix it a little more, another failure, till I get success suddenly. Suddenly it's working, right? And so I'm going to just say our deservability is something we need to build. And another thing you can do very beautifully if you really want to build deep deservability is truly start to believe that that no human being on this planet was born without a purpose. When you start to believe that and you realize that even in your own minuscule way, there is a role. You know, yesterday I met a very interesting musician for dinner, and he said something very wonderful, and he said, Puja, I believe we have only one life, that we are meant to use all of our potential to live. Now, I'm not a believer of one life. I'm a believer of we have many lives and we are here to explore, and every life adds to our soul's layering and complexes and complexities, and that's why we have the whole concept of old souls versus young souls, and that's for another day, this discussion. But I just really loved the passion with which he said, and we are here to discover all of who we are in this lifetime. And just the way he said it, I could tell that he truly felt deserving of the way he has gone about life, the way he has explored all of his kala, his talents, and he was so, what would I say? He had so much humble pride. And sorry, I'm using two very oxymoron, or what do you call those, paradoxical words. Humble pride in the way he was presenting himself. And it was such a lovely evening that I had last night over dinner with this gentleman. But you know what? When we start to believe that we are here for more than what we think, then there's a different kind of deservability, don't you agree, that walks into our own energy. I love how so many of you have started to give each other advice that I don't even need to. So cute. Rohini, dear, you are looking very pretty today. You look hairstyle and the background are very fresh and unique this time. Love always. Yeah, I'm actually sitting in a different space in my house today, and I went for a haircut yesterday. So in case you're all noticing a new haircut, thank you so much for noticing. Ah, so cute. Okay, let's go right to the bottom, take some latest questions, and then I will close for the day, okay? Your blush is so beautiful. What's the shade? It's called Orgasm by NARS, and it's one of my favorite blushes. So if you want to try it out, note it down. They have a liquid version also, and they have a powder version also, but it's really nice for Indian skin. Rather, it suits dusky skin. The friend who introduced me to Orgasm by NARS was a woman who was almost 2-3 shades darker than me, and I feel like it looked so fabulous on her that I got addicted to it myself. So Orgasm by NARS, now you know. Queen's making her story. I feel stuck and need solutions on how to give him a good upbringing bring him back the way he was when he was in grade 2, how to help him develop interest in reading and developing him. I'm guessing that you've already spoken to me about something about your child, and you're continuing to ask me about how to do a good job of bringing up the child. There are a few things that I learned in my parenting journey which I can share with you. One was that listen to the child with as much interest, even if you have none, that you would like him to listen to you when you talk to him. So that was one of my biggest learnings when I was bringing up my children, that I knew more about Beyblade and FIFA and Wolverine and X-Men and all of those things that I had zero interest in. But at one point I felt like I had done a PhD in all of that just because my children were so into it. And I never wanted them to think that if they are interested in something, that I will not be interested in. So that was one of those most beautiful things that I was taught when I was raising my children long ago. Now they raise me, by the way, if I may say so. Another thing that I myself personally did when I was raising my children was allowed them to take a lot of their decisions, right or wrong. So a lot of times we want to protect our children from making the wrong decisions. So for example, let's say there is a birthday party and the theme is red, green and yellow. Okay. And my son has walked out of the room saying, I only want to wear this blue t-shirt today. Now there's a part of me as a mother who does not want to enter the party with a blue colored child when the theme is red, green, yellow, right? But there's a part of me that wants him to learn decision making, consequences, the ability to handle the world, the ability to stand for your own decision. And I feel like we deprive our children of all of that in trying to keep them like the cattle, to remain obedient, to remain listeners, so that the mother gets projected as an awesome woman, that their accolades somehow become our accolades. And I feel like that's one of the mistakes we make as parents, because when we don't let our children make decisions from a very early age, they start to fear decision making. And the more we reprimand them for making wrong decisions, the more they grow up to remain more fearful, more scared, more all of those things that ideally they should have gotten ingrained from a very young age. So see how you can use all of this. I think instead of trying to say bringing him back to the way he was in grade 2, children under the age of 10 are highly requiring validation from the parents. Okay, so they will do whatever to remain so that they can receive the love of the parent. They want to remain right in the eyes of the parent. Earlier it used to be called the teenage years, but today I think from the age of 10 itself, children have started to transform to finding their own identity. And identity building for a child is actually breaking the obedience cycle that they were in for the first 10 years. So suddenly parents start to struggle with a child that was perfectly obedient till he was in grade 2, 3, 4. Because now the child is saying, I will do the opposite of what you are saying, not only just what you are saying, I'm going to do the opposite. And parents struggle with handling this kind of a child because suddenly he has changed, right? So my suggestion is give him the permission to find himself. Okay. Now, one of the things I learned was that there should be safety in the environment where you are bringing up your child. So risk-taking in a safe environment is one of the biggest gifts you can give to your child. The risk should not be so extreme that his safety gets compromised. That's not okay. So if my child comes and says, I'm sorry, but I am leaving and I will come back tomorrow morning and I'm going out partying and drinking and I'm not even going to tell you where I'm going and you don't need to follow me, and I'm not okay with all of that. But within the safety of the environment, which means, Mom, I'm going to so-and-so's house. This is where I will be. This is my phone number. This is my friend's phone number. We will be having an all-nighter. That conversation is so much more superior than me trying to say, when I say you're not going to go out means you're not going to go out. Which is where I think a lot of parents land up going. So just some of the things that have worked for me, I'm not even sure myself. I feel like as parents, each one of us is trying to do the best that we can. And having said that, we also realize in our own houses, when you have 2 children, that your one child is showing you how wonderfully you are as a parent, and your one child is clearly giving you the signals that you are failing as a parent. So when in the same house, no one style of parenting works, where are we going to learn one style of parenting for the world? So I feel like it's a lot of hit and trial, and just know that the problems of your childhood will not pass on to your children because you'll be so conscious and aware, but there will be new set of problems and scars that we will end up giving our children, that they will have to learn to clean or detox from, or this thing. So till the time the intention is good, the desire is to give, just be very acknowledging of the fact that, you know what, we as parents are literally trying our best with the limited understanding and education and resources and experiences that we've had. We are trying our best. And I think some of us parents are so harsh to our own selves or to our children. I think harshness in either places doesn't work too well. Nice. All right, let's look at a few more questions before I start to close. I see a lot of you writing about adultery, about affairs, about not having a loyal man. We live in a world right now where the availability has just become very extreme. And with a phone in the hand, it is literally gadget created to make having affairs super easy. So if someone is not high character or high value, today the world is designed in a manner that it contributes to helping people to land up having the kind of affairs that people are having. So which is why I am now becoming a big believer of becoming financially independent and having that identity that, you know what, while I am fully complete by who I am, it's always nice to share my life with a partner that values me. And I think each one of us with time now start to need to walk this new path. Earlier it was, I'm an amazing woman who will bring love and joy to the life of this man. And so she gave all of who she was to becoming or surrendering or merging or dissolving with the man. And I feel like now this is not everyone's truth, that the sacredness of marriage no longer exists at the level it used to. And therefore, I think the new story that we women have to start to create for ourselves is that I want to be completely financially independent. I want to be as emotionally independent as I can be. I want to be as physically independent as I can be. And once I know that I'm fully capable of living my life by myself, to that, if someone can come and add value, I would love to have a man. It's so much more fun to share your life with a man. I share my life with a beautiful man who adds so much value to my life that I absolutely wouldn't want it any other way but to have him in my life. But I'm also extremely conscious about the fact that if ever, for whatever reason, something happens between us where we are not together, am I completely capable of looking after myself emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially? And the answer is yes. And I feel like we value each other so much more because both of us are so very complete. And I am going to encourage you. So for all of you who are writing in, it makes my heart bleed when I read, because I was that kind of woman who completely dissolves. When I love, I just love. I'm the kind of woman who'll move to Timbuktu for her man. I will leave my entire business, my entire life, my entire mission for my man. I'm a lover. If those of you who in this room are like me. For women like you and me who are absolute lovers of love, we need to be 100 times more careful because we dissolve at that level. We have to be, they say the more you want to love, the stronger you should know how to set boundaries. Why? Because you need to create that safety before you love. Otherwise, you'll get taken for granted and you'll be taken for a ride of the kind where you will say, here I was giving all of who I am and nobody and nothing got valued. And you want to remain so careful around that. You don't want to be that kind of woman. I'm still a dissolver, by the way. I'm the kind of woman who will wake up at 4:30 in the morning because my man goes for golf at 5:30 just to have coffee with him, just to get that extra 1 hour with him. I will go on the same car to the office because I'll get extra 15 minutes. I mean, I'm crazy. But I feel like I'm crazy. I allow myself this crazy because deep down I have the confidence to know that if he doesn't value me, he doesn't deserve me, and I hope and pray someone deserves the kind of love I have to offer. If not him, someone else I will find. And when you have that attitude and self-respect for yourself, and I'm sorry I'm doing I, but what I mean is for all of us women, I'm just trying to project to you that I'm not okay with the number of women that are coming to me around losing themselves in their marriages. I feel like I'm on a mission to make every woman richer than her man. Like, that's really something that I want happening, because we can love the man no matter what. But somehow the man is today needing to respect us a lot more for him to love us. So I feel like the whole energy, earlier on it used to be the man's bank balance decided the respect and love we had for him. But I think it's all changing and we need to create a new narrative. I don't know. Tell me in the chat box if you're getting what I'm saying, and do you agree with what I'm saying? Yeah. I know, isn't it? So that's why I'm going to say, all of you, just work on who you are. Be as complete as possible. Otherwise, someone in this world will land up taking you for granted. And the worst thing that you can do to a loving woman is you take her for granted because she shuts down. And a shut down woman is a woman who's bitter, who's angry, who's resentful. And we see so many such women around us. And then women start to hurt other women because they didn't get what they should have gotten. But you know what? The real truth is that they had started out with wanting to love. That all of us women, all we want is that attention, that importance, that desire to be acknowledged for who we are. Oh, nice. How to be happy when people are not doing things as per my expectations. So Chandriba, firstly, the expectation that people should do things according to your expectation itself is a very high expectation. So you need to make a list of expectations and then communicate those expectations with all the people that you want, returning the expectation, and see who all are capable of giving you that expectation and from who all are you asking for things that they are not even capable of giving. Okay, I feel like a lot of times, I remember having this expectation from my husband around my birthdays and anniversaries that he was just not able to meet. Till a time came where I said my birthday and my anniversary, I am responsible for. I will create my own happiness. You just follow my lead. At least that much you do. Okay. So that's how it changed and shifted, because he was not able to keep up to the expectations I had for my birthday and my anniversary. Like that, I want you to make a list of where all are people meeting your expectations, where all are they not able to. And wherever they are not able to, you can do 3 yellow flags, as I like to call it. Communicate it once, communicate it twice, communicate it thrice. And the minute you hit the 3rd yellow flag, I want you to move to red flag, which means now you have to learn the art of changing this expectation to managing your disappointment. You can no longer, you are not allowed to have, because this is your intelligence that is talking to you, that look, this man or this person or this family is not capable of looking after my expectations. Now, what am I going to do about it? Which means you take back your remote control, you take back your power, you take back the responsibility of keeping yourself happy. What are you going to do about it? Okay. So for example, my husband does not like to eat breakfast. Okay. And I like to go to Sangeeta's at least once a month to go have some nice dosa or idli, or these are all breakfast items, right? So because he doesn't do it, I have found one breakfast friend. She also goes to work, I also go to work. Both of us eat a lovely dosa and then she goes off to her work, and we have it fixed on a certain day in the month. And I feel like one of the things I kept doing was telling Puneet, can you take me for dosa? Can you take me for dosa? And he was not interested in taking me for dosa. till the 3 yellow flags happened, and I said, you know what, I'm going to find someone. All I want is a dosa from Sangeeta. I'm sure there's someone in this world who will be willing to take me for that, right? So found myself someone. So what I'm trying to tell you here is people are not going to meet your expectations majority of the time. And it is our job to make sure that we are not nagging or venting or complaining or blaming about something for too long. So what's the golden rule? The 3 yellow flags. Collect the 3 yellow flags, move to how you can look after yourself. What can you do? Now, if the person you cannot move on from, okay, let's say it wasn't dosa and it was something else that I wanted from my man that I can't get from anyone else, then it would be a very different conversation, right? So if I had to have this conversation with my children, I can then set consequences. So that's called boundary setting. So you are not meeting my expectations, my sweetheart. I have told you 15 times that you cannot play video game after 10 p.m. Now, if you do continue to do so, you will have to submit your remote control, and for 24 hours, you will not get your remote control back. Okay. Now, wherever in life you cannot put consequences, you have to put requests, which means use love as the currency rather than threat as the currency. Wherever threat works, use threat. With staff, with children, you can afford to use threat. But let's say the expectation is from in-laws. If expectation is from in-laws and you give a threat, you will itself get crushed. True or not? So there you use love and request. So how you ask, how you communicate your ask will decide whether you get it or not. So learning the art of asking is also something that I highly encourage every woman to have, because you know what? In your sweetness is a certain energy of yesness from the opposite person. So I know a lot of things that Puneet doesn't want to do for me, but if I say it sweetly enough, it changes. So if I really want a dosa badly that day, I know exactly how to say it for him to just do it for me. He may not eat that day, but he'll take me. So see how you can work around expectations, and especially this is the month of expectations, true or not? So you want to be so careful around communication of expectations, and depending on who it is opposite, you have to use your intellect to be able to communicate it as maturely as possible. The one thing that I'm completely in dislike with is when people continuously keep complaining without pausing to think about a solution. Solution mindedness is so important. Some men are just commenting whatever rubbish they feel like in the chat box. I normally like to ignore such men, so I'm going to continue to do so. Sorry that some of you are having to read the rubbish of whatever somebody is saying. But you know what? These people are best ignored, because any importance given to them is a waste of time and energy. True or not? Love it. All right, on that note, I am going to do cheers. Please take a picture. You know the drill. All you have to do is put it in your story, tag me, and let me know what was your biggest takeaway from today. The art of asking, the 3 yellow flags. Rather, actually, instead of putting it here, I'd love for you to put it in the under this video. Okay, so when I post this video in the next 2 minutes, I'd love for you to go in the comment section and share with us what was your biggest takeaway. And for those of you who want to continue the tradition of putting it in your story so that I can also share it when you tag me, please do that also. On that note, I'm going to run. I'll see you next Wednesday. Loads and loads of love. Happy Navratri. Have a great week ahead. Enjoy Diwali. Go shopping. Go coffee drinking with your friends. This is the month to really awaken the goddess, which is also in another way saying awaken the feminine, and do all the things that make you feel feminine, make you feel loved, increase your own self-love in every possible way. Yes? Bye. Take care. Thank you for coming. Ciao.